Welcome to the Daily AI News Digest for July 21st, 2026. This podcast is sponsored by bestai.org. Let's dive straight into today's market realities and cut through the industry noise to get you the cold, hard business facts.
Here is our executive rundown for today. We will be tracking major market movements, product and model realities, policy and business signals before handing it over to the analyst desk and wrapping up with Market Watch next.
We're starting with a massive number underpinning the current market, $252.3 billion. That is the global corporate investment in enterprise AI for the year. But if you are an enterprise leader, this next figure is a bit of a wake-up call. Right now, only 6% of firms are actually reporting a significant earnings impact from that capital.
Moving into Section 1, Major Market Movements, where we're tracking a structural reset defined by heavy infrastructure spending clashing with compressing margins. To put that into perspective, while corporate AI investment sales passed $250 billion, legacy tech divisions are facing a harsh reality. Look at Microsoft. They just announced 4,800 job cuts, mostly within their Xbox division, which is dealing with a compressed margin rate of just 3%. The market takeaway here is clear. We are witnessing a massive reallocation of capital from traditional hardware straight into enterprise AI infrastructure.
That brings us to Section 2. Product and model realities, and what's turning out to be a brutal July price war.
The first few weeks of July delivered an aggressive wave of frontier models, and output token costs are dropping fast. OpenAI's GPT 5.6 Sols commands $30 per million output tokens. But then you look at Meta's Muse Spark 1.1, driving costs all the way down to $4.25. Concurrently, Anthropic locked Claude Fable 5 into their max plans following its 80.3% score on the SWE Bench Pro, and Moonshot's Kimi K3 froze capacity after dominating the front-end code arena.
Underneath this price war, we're tracking a major architectural divergence. Meta is actually shifting gears with Muse Spark 1.1, stepping away from strict open-weight dominance to offer a closed, paid model aimed at monetizing agentic inference. Meanwhile, China's DeepSeek is aggressively pursuing vertical integration, designing custom inference silicon to completely bypass their hardware reliance on NVIDIA and Huawei.
Next up is Section 3, Policy and Business Signals, where we are looking closely at physical scaling and incoming regulations. 100,000. That is China's projected annual output of humanoid robots for this calendar year alone. It represents a severe escalation in international hardware manufacturing capabilities, particularly while the U.S. remains heavily focused on software export controls.
We just saw the practical application of this hardware live at the 2026 World AI Conference in Shanghai. 60 full-sized Agibot humanoids were deployed as official volunteers. Operating on 10-hour battery cycles, they managed autonomous navigation, visitor interactions, and item sorting. This marks a definitive shift from static tech exhibits to an active physical workforce.
Simultaneously, the institutional environment is tightening up rapidly. Back in June, the U.S. temporarily blocked Anthropic's export access. Then, by mid-July, a coalition of 16 Nobel laureates issued a formal warning stating that AI adoption will outpace the economic shifts of the Industrial Revolution. In direct response to these macroeconomic concerns, the Federal Reserve has swiftly launched a dedicated task force on AI productivity and jobs.
Let's take this to Section 4, the analyst desk, to evaluate what these macro shifts actually mean for enterprise security and your internal adoption workflows.
Cybersecurity researchers have just exposed a critical vulnerability they're calling MemGhost. The workflow for this exploit is alarmingly simple. An attacker sends a single poisoned email payload. The user's AI agent processes it and silently writes false instructions into its persistent memory. The active chat remains completely unaffected, but in all future sessions, that agent acts on the poisoned belief, permanently compromising corporate data workflows behind the scenes.
The metrics on MemGhost are severe. We're looking at an 87.5% end-to-end success rate against OpenClaw running GPT 5.4 and a 71.4% success rate against the Claude SDK. It bypasses current, input, model, and system-level defenses. If your enterprise is deploying agents under shared logins or static API keys, you are currently exposed to massive audit trail risks.
But even if we put security vulnerabilities aside, the fundamental hurdle remains organizational integration. The current reality of enterprise AI adoption is stark, an 80% failure or abandonment rate. Only 20% of these projects are successfully reaching production.
Our data indicates this massive failure rate stems from what we call the technology-first trap. 91% of data leaders say organizational culture, not the technology itself, is their primary obstacle. Furthermore, 84% of practitioners blame leadership misalignment and ambiguous ROI. Scaling these tools often just results in organizational entanglement. Escaping this requires orchestrated cross-functional leadership rather than isolated IT procurement.
Finally, Section 5, Market Watch Next. Let's look at the open weight horizon as we close out July.
The industry is bracing for major open weight inference disruptions next week. DeepSeek V4 is scheduled for release on July 24th, followed by Moonshot's public weight release for Kimi K3 on July 27th. We expect the unit economics of inference to continue their aggressive downward compression.
So as inference costs plummet and capabilities rise, we leave you with this final question. Is your enterprise building the orchestrated infrastructure required to capitalize on this shift? Or are you on track to become just another 80% abandonment statistic? Thank you for watching today's Explainer, sponsored by bestai.org. We will see you tomorrow for more grounded market realities.